Hello, you're listening to Butterball. This is a podcast. We're three family members. We're talking ball and we're having a ball. Hi, my name is Scott.
Hey y'all, I'm Nicole. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Butterball Podcast. We post clips and other great things on there, so follow us on Instagram at Butterball Podcast.
And I'm Drew, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube at Butterball Podcast, or listen to us on Spotify. Just search Butterball.
All right. Well, last week we had talked about the College World Series and we were getting into the championship round. Oklahoma made it into the championship playing against North Carolina. It was the best of three and it went the whole distance. And Nicole, congratulations, your Oklahoma Sooners win a national title. So did you have a little bit of fun watching that?
Yeah, Boomer Sooner. I did have fun. I mean, I was hoping it would be over in 2, but obviously it wasn't. But, game 3 was a breeze, so I wasn't too worried, especially by the 3-run homer in the 8th inning. I was like, should I turn on Love Island now? Because I think that they're going to win. So I felt pretty dang good.
The celebration at the end is one of the funnest things to watch, though. When you watch the team celebrate the win, it's always good to see, like, okay, they're the champions. That's fun.
Yeah, I like seeing them get out the little jars and they're putting the dirt in the jars for their, memories for life. I'm like, that's sweet. That type of thing is just, good to see.
Yeah. So, Drew, as an Oklahoma State fan, did you watch? Did you even tune in?
Yeah, I hate watched it, unfortunately.
So what'd you think about it?
I mean, looking at the stats, it was kind of bizarre how they were kind of just a mid-team all year, and then they turned it on in the playoffs. That was kind of weird, but I wish they were still part of the Big 12, too. That also sucked, but oh well.
Yeah, I found that interesting, too, how they were closer to the bottom of the SEC, right? 11th ranked in the SEC tournament or something crazy like that. But then they just turned it on late in the year. And also in the second half, they were showing their stats for home runs and stuff. This wasn't a home run hitting team. And then all of a sudden, late in the season and when the tournament starts, they start hitting bombs, too. I mean, they were dangerous on the base paths. They were fun to watch. When they'd get on, you knew they were going to steal because they got a lot of speed, and so that was fun. I love that style of baseball when guys can steal and stuff like that, because it's kind of a rarity these days, it seems.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Nice to see the underdogs win. I don't know. I mean, I like underdogs in general. It's kind of funny that it was my team this time, but I mean, it's just kind of a nice place to be as a fan. It doesn't feel as good like for football for me. I have more loyalties and allegiances to watching OU football, so I wouldn't have felt the same. But baseball, I don't watch every single OU baseball game, I'll be honest. So when they started winning all of a sudden, I was like, what's going on? What? I don't understand. But it's kind of fun to tune in, and I'm glad that they did that well.
Well, here's an interesting tie to Oklahoma football. So the final score of this game, the final game, the championship game, was 13-2, right? And do you realize that the last time Oklahoma won a national title in football, the score of the game was 13-2?
No.
Yes.
13-2. Oh, my God.
In the 2001 Orange Bowl, the Sooners beat Florida State 13-2. That was one of Bob Stoops' early teams, and they beat them to win the national title in that game. So numbers, it's crazy. Crazy how that works.
I would like to win another football national championship soon.
SEC teams, they're going to be in there. Big Ten teams are going to be in there. So who knows? Could happen. It was interesting. That was OU's third baseball title. They'd won in 1951, 1994, and 2026. So they're putting a good, 30, 40 years in between titles, but they're getting it done. They've got 3 titles. So, hey, congrats to the Sooners.
Boomer Sooner.
So the next thing we should probably touch on is the never-ending saga of Brendan Sorsby and what he's going to be doing this year.
It gets better
because
every week.
it is. It's
Well,
good.
this is also where we've been blowing up on Instagram. And I say blowing up lightly, but this has gotten us the most attention. I need to update y'all that we have had multiple people in our comments section, and one guy is very annoyed with us, and he says that we don't know the facts. We're just talking shit on a podcast. And he's been following it from the beginning. So if we have any questions, we should ask that young sir, who's probably a tech fan. We should just go ahead and ask him what is going on with the story.
Well, it really doesn't matter because our opinions were, I think, supported by the entire Big 12 and most people in general.
Everybody that's not a tech fan agrees with us.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing here was so, he pulls back and says, "Okay, not going to try to fight the NCAA in court, blah blah blah. I'm just going to go to the NFL." Well, not so fast because the NFL says we're not going to have a supplemental draft for you. And that's their prerogative. So, wow, what a backfire this was for him and his
Yeah.
from, if his legal team was advising him of all these things and stuff, man, they missed the boat on this one. They've led him down a path of, although I don't know that any path would have been a path of success when all the gambling stuff comes out because he's going to get suspended from the NCAA. So there's no winning that, I don't think.
They thought that he won it for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Well, they did. Yeah. And then but then now the NFL, I think they probably thought too the NFL would go, "Yeah, okay, well, we'll take him." But the NFL's like, "Nah, that's really not how it works," And so what are your thoughts on that? The NFL and their decision to not have a supplemental draft and tell them you're just going to have to go into the 2027 draft.
First, I was kind of surprised because I thought he could go to the NFL and get away with it. But then after seeing the NFL's long letter that they put out, it makes a lot of sense why they didn't have it. He stated his claim like 3 days before the deadline, and so they were not prepared. I don't think with enough time to make a decision, and that's probably what it mostly was. I think if you gave them like a month to come to a decision, maybe they would weigh the facts a little bit more and come to something. But he didn't give them enough time at all.
Yeah, timing was definitely one factor. What are your thoughts, Nicole?
I guess I don't know the history of when was the last time a player in the NFL was in trouble for gambling or a collegiate football player went to the NFL after having a run-in with gambling. I mean, I guess I don't know the history around gambling related
Yeah, well,
infractions
it's
specifically.
very recent because the kid from Iowa State, Hunter Deckers, he was Iowa State's quarterback, placed a $15 bet on Iowa State, lost his eligibility for that. He still had, I guess, his eligibility standing still allowed him then to go to junior college. So he played 1 year of JUCO ball at Iowa Western because the NCAA said, "You're done. You can't play any more
Yeah.
NCAA ball." So he played JUCO ball for 1 year and then basically just tried to make it in the NFL as a free agent. Last year he was on a practice squad and he's grinding right now. He was in the UFL and he's grinding trying to make it somewhere. So he lost his eligibility and he just had to make it. Not, he didn't get drafted and he's just
They would
trying to
have
do it
let
as
him
free.
in though, right? I mean,
Through the regular draft and stuff, yeah, but not they weren't like holding a supplemental draft for him, or anything either. I mean, he was
mhm.
done.
Yeah.
And so that was his path. There was a wide receiver that got into the NFL, and when he got in, once he was in, there was no penalties or anything like that for him. Um,
There
but
was Calvin Ridley got suspended for just a few games for betting on. I think it was FanDuel.
yeah, so I don't think that, that for the NFL, I don't think that was a huge part of it. I think the NFL, they said, obviously the timing that Drew mentioned.
I'm sure the publicity of it was the other thing. I mean, to just be honest.
Well, then also they said you provided no documentation as to like, what this case is all about and what you're going to do as an individual. What's your accountability? What are you going to do to improve yourself or help make yourself a viable NFL player, right? I mean, because he petitioned basically saying, I need to come to the NFL because the NCAA won't let me play anymore. Well, you're not addressing anything about your gambling addiction or, your integrity at all. That was not included in what he submitted, and the NFL said, we're this playing in the NFL is a privilege, so we're just not going to like open the doors and say, okay, come on in
Right.
then,
Yeah.
right?
They
Yeah.
have a lot of good, talented quarterbacks. Um, so which again just gets back to the narrative that I feel like has just been continuing to progress around Texas Tech fans is they just feel like the world revolves around them.
Well, it's because he was going to be their guy, I mean, they formed an attachment to him, and now they're trying to find any reason to give him an excuse, and most other people out there are going, "Oh, hold on,
Yeah.
there's an accountability piece to this, and there's a integrity of the game piece to this, and there's the general rule that you don't bet on your own team in sports
Yeah.
rule." His attorneys were saying, "Well, we're going to go to we're going to fight this through the NFL Players Association." Well, the only problem is he's not in the NFL Players
Yeah.
Association because he hasn't been in the NFL yet. So he's not
Mhm.
a member of that organization. So I don't know how that would be a valid thing. On Instagram, we were getting pushback because people were like, "Well, but the judge isn't from Lubbock," and we're like, "Yeah, he's from Fort Worth. He's from Texas. Come on, it's
What
not that."
difference does it make?
Yeah, it really doesn't make that big of a difference. But some of the other comments that you see in articles now is they're like, this one local judge makes a decision that most people in the United States can't even fathom that this is a correct decision,
Yeah.
And this is the state of, again, what we were talking about before is the NCAA can't continue like this.
No.
There does need to be some intervention that says every district court in America can't challenge these guys like this and keep them from governing their own rules. This is crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe it's continued this way. And I can't believe that the Tech fans are still riding as hard as they are about it. I guess I'm surprised and I'm not at the same time. It seems like something Drew would do if this was an Oklahoma State player. So I think
Oh, well, yeah, okay. You have a lot of room to talk. Lincoln Riley hater, you were,
that
you,
makes sense.
I don't know.
That makes sense. I stand by this. I really do. I'm sure we'll get back into this when football season starts, but I stand by my comments. And other people, you guys love to make fun of me for that one. And like the thing is, like I don't know why you keep arguing with me about it because if we like present the facts in different ways, you would agree with me.
I, I don't know that I would. I think we've presented it a while, but yeah, we can get into it
You
later.
you can move schools. Did
Huh?
he do it in a snaky way?
Well,
Yes.
Did
did
it the
Stop
same
trying to tell
way
me that
all the
stop trying to
players
tell me
do.
that he didn't. Stop trying to tell me that it wasn't a little snake move. He said, "I am not going to OSU." And then the next day, "Because I'm going to USC." Like, it's come
we've
on. You
we've
can't act like that isn't so silly.
we've seen so many coaches do this, though. I mean, it's kind of like, eh.
Well,
But
yeah, is it the end of the
well,
world? No, but
well,
like
so let's talk a little bit about this Protect College Sports Act in Congress. It's going through the Congress, I should say. And what they're trying to do is establish a framework so that the NCAA gains their teeth back, basically, right? So
yeah.
this is a Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell are the sponsors or the authors, and they have other sponsors on the bill and stuff. And they're basically like the main tenet of the bill is to provide the NCAA with an antitrust exemption so that every district court in America can't sue them for antitrust like is happening now and take them to court for everything they disagree with. That's one. And then there are other stipulations so that they can establish like a collective group of rules and bargaining power, I guess, for media rights and different things like that. So
Mhm.
Nick Saban, he actually went to Congress and he testified before Congress. So this is pretty much a quote from him. He said, "Congress does not need to micromanage college sports. Congress does need to fix the mess in the courts and create a national framework so people inside college sports can enforce fair rules." So, basically what he's saying is we know how to do it. The people in the game know how to do it too in the system, but It's the courts, with the court system like this, without a national framework and allowing everybody to challenge everything in district courts all over the country, it's it's a losing proposition. You can't do it that way, you
Yeah.
know? So here's some of the things they're talking about that that's kind of the major theme of what that Protects College Sports Act is. But then here's some of the other things that they would introduce. One would be limiting transfers. They'd like right now, it's basically free agency every year. There's guys
Mhm.
transferring year after year after year with unlimited eligibility throughout the process, and they're saying they want to limit transfers to a one-time transfer, and then if you
It's what we
transferred
used to have.
no, you couldn't even do it one time. Like, when I was in college, if you transferred, you had to sit out, and that Kyler Murray had to sit out. Baker Mayfield
Yeah,
had to sit
Baker
out.
did. But you
Yeah.
could still transfer, like, once.
Yeah.
Didn't you only get 1 back then too?
No, you could transfer
1
as much as you wanted, but you're losing a year of eligibility every
Oh,
time you
okay.
did it,
Mhm.
you know?
I thought it was a one-time only. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so this one would allow you to, like, if you transferred once, you wouldn't have to sit out,
Mhm.
okay? But then if you do it again, okay, now you're gonna have to sit before you can play, which
Okay.
I have no problem with that. I think unlimited transfer the way it is now is nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is it, does it come with that rule where if your coach leaves, you get a free transfer again?
I don't know. I don't know if that would be part of it because I didn't dig deeper into for all the exceptions to this because I'm sure there's medical exceptions and different things like they have
Mhm.
today, with medical hardships and stuff. But I think as a general rule, that would be the rule.
I like it.
Then the other one is limiting eligibility to 5 years. This is another one that's interesting because does that mean you can play for 5 years on the field? I mean, well, but they start the clock when like if you graduate from high school and you go right to college, boom, your clock has started. Now you have 5 years to use
Which
up.
is basically what we've been doing, except
That,
+1 for COVID.
yeah, it used to be like that, and then I think it changed at times to you had to be an active full time student for the clock to keep ticking. You
Mm.
could like drop out for like say you got
Oh,
hurt.
that's stupid. No, that's dumb.
Yeah, well, I mean, people would do it though. Like say you got hurt real bad, and they'd be like, "Well, drop out," because the clock will stop and then
Yeah,
it'll
that's not
start
like
back
that.
up when you go back into school. But so that's another one they're talking about limiting eligibility. This is one of the dumbest ones I think that they even have to put in the rules is prohibiting former pros to play in the NCAA. Can you believe that?
Well, have you seen, we've got some former baseball players that are coming back to play
Yeah,
football. It's happened
I
Well,
saw
a
that.
few
yeah,
times now.
yeah. If they come back to play a different sport, fine. But there was actually a player, wasn't there a player that played in like the NBA G League, and then he was playing college basketball again.
It's happening in
Well,
hockey right now too.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. What about the players who play in the CHL and then come to play Division 1 hockey?
Yeah, that's allowed right now. It's happening a lot
Yeah,
this year
that's
especially.
Yeah,
I
I,
know that
that
for a
that
fact.
doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if it's a pro league, that doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Mhm.
junior leagues and stuff like that, and then start okay, I get it, but a pro league and then you come back to the NCAA, that makes zero sense to me. Here's what you'll like, Nicole:
I don't
prohibit
know.
poaching of coaches during the regular season. The Lane Kiffin rule, the
I
Lincoln.
don't.
Ru-
It's not about that. You don't understand. Like, it wasn't, they didn't poach him. Like, it's the reason that I had an issue with it is because, like, how are you going to act like you've been doing nothing wrong when you know for a fact that you've been flying to LA and, like, meeting with all these people, and then you're like, oh no, we lost. Well, good thing I'm not going to LSU. And then the next day you're like, cause I'm going to USC. And like acting like that's probably why we lost is the reason why everyone was mad and annoyed too, because our season went to shit. It's because you're over here flying out to a bunch of interviews for a new coaching job. Like, come on. Be for
Yeah.
real.
Well, they're calling it the Lane Kiffin rule because obviously that wasn't a pretty exit either this past year.
Yeah.
But that's Lane Kiffin. I mean, he doesn't do anything pretty. That's just the way that's just when things end with him.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I do kind of like that though, also because I do feel bad for the teams who are playing like in a bowl game or whatever, and they're
Yeah,
like coachless. That's so stupid. I feel
yeah.
bad.
What's going on today with transfer eligibility right away, with extended eligibility? with people fighting the NCAA and saying, like Diego Pavia did, and saying, well, I played JUCO. That doesn't count against the NCAA eligibility and getting extra years. Like all these things that are happening and the roster turnovers now because of NIL and all that. It's nuts. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
trying to create a roster with continuity from year to year to year. The game has changed 100% from where it was,
Mhm.
and they have to rein it in. Otherwise, coaches are they're going to burn out so fast on this. They're going to get so tired of it. It already is becoming just a huge money game that's similar to, all the scandals of the 1980s when SMU had players on contract when you weren't supposed to have them on contract, you know?
Yeah.
It'll just be about how much money you have. Saban said that in the last 4 years at Alabama, their NIL spend in year 1 it was 2.7 million. In year 2 it was 10 million. In year 3, it was 17 million, and then last year it was 24 million. That's
Yeah.
just the NIL portion of it. Then now
Yeah.
you got the 20.5 million
Rev share.
rev
Mhm.
share portion. So you got $40 million rosters in
Yeah.
college football, and they want more. Some of those, Big Ten and
Yeah.
SEC schools want more. They're like,
Mhm.
we'll keep bumping it up. We don't want any limits here. It's
Yeah,
wild.
they're just gonna push it as
Something.
far as you let them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what you'll see. Like, it'll be fun to watch this legislation and see if it gains any ground or anything, because right now you have, the Big 12 and the ACC, they want the federal government to step in.
Right.
The Big 10 and the SEC do
Well,
not.
do you realize why? It's because so a couple like smaller pieces of the Protect College Sports Act that I was reading up on regarding your comment there. It has written in there that you're not allowed to band together and create a super conference. And
Right.
so that's of course the SEC and the Big 10 being the more powerful conferences. That limits their power. So I do understand why they're like a little bit apprehensive to this, because I can foresee a world where it becomes SEC and Big 10 starting to run the show if nothing changes. So I guess I get where they're coming from there. I don't know what the answer is, but I kind of get it.
I suppose it's, if you want to be part of the NCAA, then play by the NCAA rules. If they put some federal guardrails in place, or go do your own thing, you
I've
know?
kind of been looking
Right?
forward to the super conference thing, so I was kind of sad to see that as part of it because I thought that would just be cool. But the other piece that is in there is they're limiting agencies to have a capped commission at 5%, which like industry standard for NIL agencies right now is like 20 or 30%. And so again, this is just a hard part about writing a policy where it's like I guess they're trying to cast these agencies out, assuming that they're all like laundering money or, like
Yeah.
doing, like bad things or whatever. But in doing that, you're going to cast out all agencies altogether, even the ones that are doing like real brand deals for athletes. And what that scares me about that is you're putting all the power back in the universities and in the institutions. And do we really want that? Or do we want to keep this a little bit of a free market economy to where, like anybody can go out and kind of create these NIL opportunities?
Yeah. Another big sticking point too is they want them to pool their media rights. So,
Yeah.
and obviously the Big Ten has their own network, SEC has their own network. They want to keep it that way. Whereas, the federal group is saying all of NCAA should be pooled into one contract. You can get the biggest contract for the entire group that way. And then you're gonna have to share it more ways. So
Right. So,
they don't
and if
want
you're
that.
the SEC, yeah, why would you want to do that?
Right.
Because you're killing it
Right. So
compared to
it's,
the SEC.
just like politics, it's about money and power, So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But they gotta do something because, man, the way college sports is right now, I mean, if you want to turn it into the pros, turn it into the pros, I guess, but I don't think people would really enjoy that piece. But even schools in the Big Ten, they're not gonna be all in on every sport. It's gonna if that model comes to play, it doesn't help because the smaller sports, they don't get the money,
Right.
and it
I mean,
just,
Big Ten baseball.
yeah,
Like, did you see any Big Ten baseball teams at the College World Series?
I don't think so.
Of course not. Yeah. Like, it's, yeah, I don't know. It's a mess.
we got some interesting news that, well, Drew, you broke it to us during the week that from the news wire that the NHL is considering expansion in Texas.
Yeah, it seemed like they're talking about it on, what was that, Tuesday when I sent it over? It looked like they were having a meeting and they're investigating or having talks to look at Austin and Houston.
So I read up on that a little bit. The Friedkin family, Friedkin, and a gentleman by the name of Dan Friedkin. He's the chairman and CEO of Gulf States Toyota. He's the big money behind all this. And he's been wanting to bring a NHL team to Texas, South Texas, for quite some time, I guess. And supposedly the NHL said they've got their eye on Atlanta as a market. Darn, I forget the other one. And then they were in Texas. And right now, from what they've seen, from everything that's been presented to them, Texas is further along in, viability of market and stuff like that. So one would think that Houston would be the most viable market because it's, huge, right? The
Yeah,
population
they already have
base.
pro teams there too, so
Yeah.
it fits nicely there.
Yeah, they got pro teams, they've got arenas,
Mhm.
too.
Mhm.
Although the deal that they're talking about with the Friedkin family would be like a $3.5 billion commitment. That would account for the expansion fee plus the arena and everything else. And I think they brought Austin into the mix because, Austin has a sports wild community that might get behind it. And, you know, uh obviously it's a growing area in that whole area and stuff like that too, and it gives them competitive market,
It's
now.
much more desirable to travel to Austin than it is to Houston,
Well,
if we're
I,
being
I think
honest.
so, but I
Yeah.
mean, and also if you're going to the cities and looking for tax incentives and land and different things for arenas and all that kind of stuff, you want to be able to bid some against each other. You don't want to just be stuck to, well, Houston, what are you going to do for us? We're coming to you. Houston's got to be competitive, so they got Austin in there too. So I would personally pull for Austin. I'd rather it be in Austin myself, but that's just me.
Well, either one. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to decide between Dallas and the new team, and I hope they have a cool logo and a cool mascot if it happens. And I look forward to submitting my application to work there as well. So,
We'll do a uniform review when we see it.
yeah. Should I trade in my victory green for free like they were doing with the mammoth?
Only if you'd follow the team. I don't know. I mean,
I don't
I
know. I might need to just have my feet in both teams for a little bit and just decide. But I mean, how can you give up Dallas? Like I love them now.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure if they go to Houston, they'd probably be the Houston Arrows again.
You think
Do
so?
y'all remember that team?
Yeah.
That was the team that had Gordie Howe and his sons back in the day. So I feel like that's probably the most likely if they choose
Arrows?
Houston.
Is that
Hmm.
politically correct?
It's a plane.
Yeah, it was a plane. It was spelled Aeros.
Aeros?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
yeah,
never heard of that. I was thinking of a bow and arrow type
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah, yeah. So that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, and I like what the commissioner of the NHL said. He basically said, we're not worried about when we expand. We're not worried about, oh, we got to have even numbers in the league or anything like that because, hey, if there's a market where it looks like there's a viable team and they can make it a go, then we're going to go, which I think that's a pretty good strategy, for that. So, and, look at what the league has expanded to. The thing I found interesting as you're looking at the league is, when I was a kid, I don't know, probably 80% of the guys in the NHL were from Canada, you
Mhm.
know, 50 years ago. And now, you have a lot of Europeans and you have a lot of US players in there. And the NHL, it's a 32 team league and there's only 7 in Canada. But, Canada's not very hugely populated. So when you look at markets,
They don't
you
have a
know,
lot of cities to put them in compared to the
exactly.
US.
exactly. So you got 25 teams, soon to be 26 in the US, uh, for the NHL, which is kind of my next talking point about the NHL, and that's the big news of Brady Tkachuk being traded to the Florida Panthers. Were you happy to see that?
I did have fun watching them play together in the Four Nations and the Olympics, so yeah, I'm all for it.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I think it's good for the league. If you watch like social media boards or people's comments to articles online and stuff, they're like, "Oh, these NHL US players, since they won the gold medal, they all think they can just tell everybody that they where they want to play now." And because these are US guys that because Matthew, he played at Calgary for the start of his career, and getting towards the end of his contract, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to resign here," and they traded him to Florida. And
Mhm.
then he won 2 Stanley Cups there, and now Brady, getting to the end of his contract, he had 2 years left, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to resign here.
Mhm.
Trade you to Florida." And Quinn Hughes got Vancouver. He was in Vancouver. Now he's at the Minnesota Wild. And there's a rumor that Connor Hellebuck, the goalie for the Jets, doesn't want to stay with the Jets, and he wants to come back to the U.S. now. And
There's also,
you can't
there's
blame him.
also did you see the rumor of Austin Matthews with the same thing?
Yeah, yeah. Austin Matthews in Toronto, and yeah, maybe he wants out of Toronto, and it's interesting because when you look at like what one of the articles I read that Matthew Kachuk was saying, we got a team here. We don't have egos. Everybody just grinds and does their job, and we don't worry about who's the alpha and all that kind of stuff. We're all just we're all there, right? And then you contrast that to you had Brady Kachuk in Ottawa. He's a U.S. kid. He was a first round draft pick. He's their team captain as a younger guy. And then you get all the Canadian media swirling around him, wanting, "Oh, you got to take us to the Stanley Cup and all this." And, it's a lot of pressure, and you're not in your home country. And so these guys are like, "God, it sure would be great to be playing in the US." Even though they might still have some tough media coverage at times, depending on your market or whatever. That's just where they're more comfortable, though. Just like a lot of guys from Canada probably want to play for the Canadian franchises that are up there too.
Mhm.
I don't know. And so it's just an interesting dynamic that exists in the league, and that's presented itself over the last 40, 50 years as the US has gotten better and better in hockey.
Well, yeah, that Austin Matthews rumor, did you see, that a California team tried to trade for him? They offered him 2 first-round picks, but then the Brady Tkachuk deal went through, which they gave him more, so, the Maple Leafs declined it.
How
So we'll
much of
see if
this
someone comes back and offers him more, we'll see.
Yeah.
how much of this do you think is exacerbated by the US winning the Olympics?
I don't think that's that big of a factor. I think, these guys, if they're top tier players in the league, they're gonna they're gonna demand things. That's just what they can do. This is what the leverage that they have. And as their contracts are expiring, the leverage is back in their hand, right? Because the team's wondering, do we got to negotiate something now to lock him into a longer term deal for the future? And if he's like, "Yeah, really not interested," okay, now they're wondering, well, we got to make a move. We got to make a move because we got to get something for him, because we don't want to just like sit here and then let him walk later and get nothing.
I
You know?
agree. I don't think this is anything new from the player standpoint, but I do think it's a little bit hyped up because of all the coping coming from Canada right now after losing the Olympics.
Yeah, if they lost, like if McDavid leaves Edmonton, or if he left Edmonton, or they start losing guys like that, they'd really start flipping out then. Another other big thing in sports world this month has been the World Cup. Are you guys have you been interested in it all? Have you watched any of the games, or do you just look at social media and pick up on the content online?
Yeah, I haven't been watching a lot of the games at all. I've been really enjoying that Freddie guy travel across the US though and really like America. That's been fun. He got tickets to a Ella Langley concert. He's eating at Taco Bell every day. He's stopping at Bucky's and he's loving every second of it.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I've watched zero soccer. I'm just not the biggest. Well, I've never seen a live soccer game, like professional soccer game. So maybe I mean I've heard that it's way better live, so maybe if I saw a game live I would like it, but on TV like oh heck no. I'm just not really that interested. I mean when the USA plays that's cool. I heard we like kicked the crap out of somebody. Other than that, didn't really pay attention, but I have been loving the social media of everybody loving America. I don't think America's gotten this good of international publicity in a while. And I just can't believe that they like all these things that much. Like our food, like Chili's, like they're saying and like ranch, they were saying like ranch is like the best thing ever. Like TSA had to
Really?
say like stop putting ranch in your carry-on. Yeah, like you cannot take this in your carry-on. Like
I don't blame them. Ranch is the best thing ever.
That is funny. Well, I know that.
but they're loving
Did you
it.
see that? Did you see that the teams from Scotland and England drank Boston out of beer?
That doesn't surprise me.
I did see that Scotland took over Boston like significantly.
Yeah, and they had people from England there too, and they're normally rivals, but they're all like, "Oh, we're having fun. This is all good." And they were there. The Sam Adams brewery was like, "Holy crap, we've got like 4 times the demand for beer than they normally get." So they were running out everywhere and having to try to make emergency deliveries and stuff. So that was pretty funny to see. And
That's
then,
awesome.
like you said, that people are posting videos going into Buc-ee's, going into Bass Pro Shop, to different places like that. I think it's because the places are so big. You come from Europe, you're not going to see mass, huge retail spots like these. These are wild, and plus the Buc-ee's is so clean. Anybody that goes into
Well,
what they
Bucky's is
think is,
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it is
Nobody
a
can hate
phenomenon.
Buc-ee's.
But
What's
dad,
that?
they like things that are not even cool. Like they like any type of fast food restaurant, any type of any restaurant. They're like, this is the best food ever. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like I'm just shocked
One
that
of the
they're loving
places
it.
he went was In-N-Out, and he
Oh,
said that
really?
was the best
Okay,
burger
well,
he'd
I
ever
do
had.
love In-N-Out. I do love In-N-Out. But they're going to some places. I can't even think of one off the top of my head now. Like, just like, I'm trying to think of like, what's like a Texas Roadhouse. And they're like,
Yeah.
this is a great place to get a steak. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, I also
Yeah,
like Texas Roadhouse.
there's better,
but like,
there's
I
better
like
out
Texas
there.
Roadhouse.
I like Texas
Looks
Roadhouse
good.
is good, but
Yeah.
like, it is not like the place to get a steak. Like, I was like, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of other steakhouses out there going, wow, we need to get these people coming into our places,
I know.
man. We'll
It
blow
is
their
an
minds.
American experience, though. I mean, and this I like the rolls and the butter, but so like I support Texas Roadhouse, but it's just hilarious to me because I'm like, don't walk away telling everybody that like that's the place to get a steak in America.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, so when I was looking at the World Cup, I guess the format of the play was that we started with pool play, and there were 12 pools of 4 teams. And so the top 2 teams from each pool plus the next 8, they all go to the round of 32. So they've all been playing now, and there's a certain number of teams that have qualified for the round of 32: Germany, Canada, Morocco, the US, Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and Switzerland. 8 teams so far. They've qualified for the round of 32. And 5 teams have been eliminated: Haiti, Turkey, Tunisia, Jordan, and Panama. I don't know where they stand in the world standings, but they're done. So they're still fighting it out to establish that round of 32 bracket, and then it'll keep going from there. So I think the interesting thing is how like a team will start and they might play in Houston, and then they're going to play in Miami and stuff like that, and so it keeps these folks that are visiting, they're traveling all over the US, man. They're
And
getting
Canada and Mexico as
to see.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a big deal. Have to keep our eyes on that and see what transpires. Another
I ran into people at the bar that were from Germany that were in town to watch the World Cup, and like they were like, well, it was like a group of young men, and they were really staring at like me and my girlfriend. So I just figured they would just like thought we were like cute or whatever. But then they like kept staring at us like for a long period of time, and then eventually our guy friends were like, "What's up?" And then they were like, "Oh, we're from Germany, and we're just having such a good time listening to you guys or whatever." And we
Oh,
were
they're
like,
listening to you talk.
"Oh." Yeah, and we were like, "Oh, well then we'll be nice to you. Like, stop staring, but like, let's have a chat then." But it
Yeah.
was just funny, and I was like, I guess I should be cognizant of that. That there's a lot of people traveling to the United States right now, so if you see people staring or acting weird, that's why.
They were just wondering what weird accent you have.
Yeah, they were like so like looked like they were eavesdropping and just like staring at us, and so I was like, "What is their deal?" And then they were like, "Oh, we're German. We're here for the World Cup."
Well, good for them. Glad they're here. I'm glad that we're getting a lot of good press from the world on how great America is. Because man, if you look at our own press, we don't do that enough for ourselves, you know. But so it's good. It's good that other people come over here and appreciate the U.S. in our 250th year. You know.
Freedom.
Hey, so the other thing I was just flipping through the channels this week and I came across a banana ball game, and so I was like, wow, this banana ball thing, what a phenomenon that's grown into be. You
Yeah.
know, from where it started and where it is now. I mean, it's crazy. Did you know that when the Savannah Bananas were first a team, they were a college wood bat summer league team? Did you know that?
Mhm.
I've read the book.
Oh, you
Have
did?
I not I can bring it home for you whenever I come home,
Oh, okay.
if you wanna read it. Yeah, I've read this guy's book. I know the whole origin.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty neat how they were in that league. And after a number of years, he's just into the fan experience, right? And he wanted to create an entertaining brand of ball for the fans. And so they started their barnstorming because the team was founded in 2016, but their first year they played by banana ball rules was 2020.
Mhm.
So they
Uh-huh.
were like the college team for 4 year or 3 years, and then they 3 or 4 years, and then they started doing the banana ball thing, and they played mainly the party animals.
Well, first
And
they played a team and they just called them the Visitors, I'm pretty sure. And
oh,
then
really?
eventually they created the
The party
started
animal?
creating franchise teams of the Party Animals, and now they have like 6
Yeah.
teams,
Mhm.
right?
They have a lot now.
Yeah. There's the Savannah Bananas, the party animals, the firefighters,
Mhm.
the Texas tailgaters,
Yep.
Mhm.
the local beach coconuts, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
those that one's new in the Clowns.
And the clowns, the Indianapolis clowns.
I know someone like that played baseball at Dallas Baptist that's now on the Texas Tailgaters. Or like, yeah, like we were connected back in college, and then like so we follow each other on social media, or I still follow him. I don't know if he still follows me. And then all of a sudden one day he just starts posting him and Texas Tailgaters, and I was like, "What?"
Oh,
Oh
really?
my god. Yeah, so he played at Dallas Baptist and now he's on the Texas Tailgaters.
Well,
He's
and that's
part
a
of
big
Banana
deal.
Ball.
That's a big deal for them. Like when they get on those teams, you know, they're obviously they want to play decent. And I think they get paid pretty decent. They get paid better than minor league players do, you know, and then but then it's an opportunity for them to establish a social media following, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that's like the whole thing.
yeah.
That's what that one guy on Big Brother did. He was a Savannah banana.
That's
Oh my god, I
crazy.
forgot about that.
Mhm.
I forgot about that.
Well,
Big Brother starts soon. Is everybody ready for Big Brother?
Of
yeah,
course.
that's probably a whole nother topic. So the banana ball, for those that aren't banana ball watchers, there's 11 specific rules that they made to banana ball. Are you guys, I'm sure you're
I know
aware of
some.
many of
I know
these.
some
I
of
know a
them.
few of them, yeah.
Drew, let's see how many we can get. Drew, start.
Well, I know the foul ball one, if a fan catches your foul ball, you're out.
Yep.
Um, there's the one where if you get walked, you're allowed to take as many bases as you want until everybody on the other team touches the ball.
Except for the
Yeah.
pitcher and catcher. Yeah, they have to throw it
Mhm.
around and everybody. So it's a sprint. So if when ball four happens, the batter can just start taking off running. And if he can get to second base or third base before they all throw it and touch it, then that's what he gets, you know? So
Mhm.
that obviously makes it more exciting.
Is that those were it's the trick plays or, like, style plays. I think they get, like, extra points for those or something
Yeah,
somehow.
that isn't in the 11 main rules, but that was something they introduced. I think you get if the visiting team gets more trick plays than the home team, then they get a point or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
something weird like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the main ones that I knew.
Those are the main ones I knew too. I'm trying to
There
think. There's something like a drop third strike or something
it's,
normal.
well, okay, so we'll start at the top. Number 1, if you win the inning, you get a point. So they do like, every inning,
Mm.
a team gets a point for winning the inning.
Getting more
Um,
runs.
yeah, if you get more runs, but then in the last inning, every run counts to your score. There's a 2-hour time limit on the game. I didn't know
Okay.
that.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
No
It's
stepping out
always 2
of the
hours because it's like a show and they refer
yeah,
to it as a show.
Yeah.
yeah. Which makes sense because of the way they play too, because they play like super fast
Yeah.
because you can't step out of the batter's box as a batter. If you step
Mhm.
out of the batter's box, it's a strike. No bunts. No
I like
No
bunts.
that
buns.
one. That
If you
one's
Yeah.
fun.
bunt, if you bunt, you're not only out, you're ejected.
Wait, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty great. I didn't
That
know that
is.
one.
That's awesome. Because why? Because bunting sucks. Nobody wants to watch bunting,
Running is boring. You're ejected.
Another one is a batter can steal first. So, like if a
I
batter's
think I
up
knew
and
that
there's a
one.
pass ball or a wild pitch, he can just take off
Right,
and steal
right.
first.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking of. Not drop third strike, stealing first.
That's a fun one too. That's a
That's a good
great
one.
one.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, you already mentioned no walks allowed, no mound visits. Can't have any mound visits. They have something called the showdown for breaking a tie at the end of the game, and there's a big long thing. I'm not going to get into that, but so they have a whole rule for that. They have a challenge rule where each team gets one challenge on calls, but then also there's a fan challenge.
A
So
fan
the
challenge.
crowd, somebody gets picked, and he's the designated fan challenger, so he can challenge a play during the game.
That's fun.
And then there's the golden batter rule. So the golden batter rule is like if you get late any time in the game, you can take your best hitter and insert him into the lineup wherever you want him. So like say you get late in the game and you're in a clutch situation and your number 3 hitter's not due up because you're down at 8 or 9 and you go, yeah, I think this is a good spot to put our 3 hitter in there. Boom, he can come in and hit in that
I've
spot.
seen the MLB talking about adding that, and I think it sounds so stupid for the MLB. It's great for banana ball, but I would hate to see it in the MLB.
Oh yeah, that would be just wrong in the MLB, it seems like. But yeah, for banana ball, I think it's great. That's a great rule too.
Mm.
Yeah,
I want to go
absolutely.
to Banana Ball so bad. I entered the lottery, but I did not get a chance to pull tickets because they always keep them the same price too. Like they're cheap. If you can get in to be able to buy them, they're very cheap and they won't allow resale or anything, which is cool as well.
We're closing in on the end of June, and you guys are both going to be here over the July 4th holiday, and we're going to do our golf cart parade. So next week we're going to preview the golf cart parade at the resort because it's a competition, and I think we've got a pretty good vibe going on. So we're going to want to talk about that and maybe insert some pictures and stuff to, let people know what we're doing, right?
Are you going to save the
think-
theme for a secret?
Yeah, let's talk about that next week.
Okay.
We've had a lot of fun talking today about these things happening in the news. You've been listening to Butterball. This is a podcast of 3 family members. We're talking ball. We're having a ball. Thanks for listening.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Butterball Podcast. We'll post clips and a bunch of fun stuff next week when we're all hanging out together. So follow us on Instagram at Butterball Podcast.
And subscribe to our YouTube at Butterball Podcast and keep listening to us on Spotify. Just search Butterball.
Bye-bye.